Hello and welcome to the REVN community stream. Silas's mic is off, apparently.
There we go. Hey, there we go. Fixed it. uh, Thank you for covering for me. This is update 15.17 coming out on Monday. Uh, I'm Silas, the creative director here at Ambitious Games.
And I am Alistair, the balance team lead here at Ambitious Games.
All right, so this week we've got some system updates across a variety of systems. So we're going to talk about those as well as some art changes that you'll see later in the slides. So we're starting off with some VFX for the terminals. When you capture them, that little banner that appears will now have some animation to how it flickers in. Also, a little sneak peek at the weeks ahead. We're also working on sound design for terminals, so the sound effects that will happen when you capture the terminal, as well as like the progress bar of capturing it ticking up and that kind of thing. There's a whole rework coming for the sound for terminals, which I'm pretty excited for because they're really an important part of the game, capturing terminals.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and really just making sure that there's good feedback there for players so that they understand that it is something. I mean, we've seen before with new players, they oftentimes need a little bit more direction on terminals and their value to the team. And just generally improving gameplay clarity around them so that players get that little feeling of like they did a good when they capture it and they get the pretty little VFX and they get the pretty SFX in the future, at least.
Yeah,
That's all going to be really important to having good feedback to the players.
exactly. The second thing on here is the recoil system changes. So we are overhauling the recoil in Revan across the guns. What I was working on, and then Alistair also worked on some stuff here. So I'll talk about what I did, and then he can talk about what he's done. Um, I made some changes to how your weapons crosshairs reset when you've finished shooting, whether that's during a reload or at the end of a burst fire, or maybe you just single tap. We are now having a more cumulative recoil reset. So the more that you shoot, the more your gun's going to reset. It feels a lot more natural. It's a lot smoother. Previously, you would sort of reset to your last shot's position rather than the start of your burst of firing. So this will just make weapons feel a lot better to shoot. And I'm looking forward to playing with this a lot. And Alistair can talk a little bit about what he's done to it.
All right. First off, I'd like to say I have loved working with the recoil system because it has just been so much fun to learn. We've got some stuff in the game now. I'm sure that for those of you who have been kind of closely following development for a little while now, a few weeks back, we added bloom largely as a proof of concept to a few weapons for testing. Those weapons were the Genesis assault rifle and the scythe carbine. um we are probably going to stick to pretty low bloom values overall. A lot of the weapons, even that I've been touching up, don't really have bloom. It's primarily going to be present on fully automatic weapons. Um, and you're not going to run into things like your shots blooming out on a sniper rifle or the rocket rifle, which is like a projectile based system, right? Like that's obviously we don't want you to be firing and have one of your projectiles just not go where you want it to. It's already hard enough to use, right? Shotgun's another one that will be no bloom. But likewise, those guns are being touched up in a more direct form of recoil, and that would take the form of like the actual like your gun kicking up or kicking to the left and right. We have tried to be very clear in the past about this because of Revan's MOBA nature. We do not ever want to have CS:GO style uh, spray patterns for the guns. Ooh, that was a loud boom.
I haven't
It
heard
is.
the boom yet. I just
Yeah, it
that
is
was
storming here, guys. It's
yeah.
storming
I
apart.
saw the lightning. You heard the
Yeah.
boom, and then I looked out the window and counted to like two, and then I heard the boom. That was
Wow. Yeah, that rumbled the apartment.
that must be on top of you because you also got to put in the ping for Discord. Like wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yikes. Um. No, but we are gonna be like kind of adding a more standard form of recoil to the shotgun. All of the sidearms did not have recoil previously. They now do. I think they especially feel really nice now. The pistol in particular, I'm really really happy with that one. Especially in conjuncture with the changes that you made, where the gun will return to resting position. It really feels more like a revolver now. Um, so it's there for balance purposes to some extent, especially on guns like shotgun. But it's also there for gameplay feel, and we don't want recoil to be something that just takes over the game. Um, so I'm really looking forward to playing with this next week and hearing your guys' feedback and potentially getting back in there and making some more changes. Um,
Yeah.
Super excited.
The next couple of things are coming from Rob, one of our new developers here on the team. He's been working on the aggro for both minions and sentry turrets. So I want to talk a little bit about what those minion changes are. And this is all distance related. So the farther away you are, wow, uh, from a minion, the less likely they are to target you. The same with sentry turrets. They will now prioritize enemies that are closer to them. And previously, it was pretty much completely random as to which enemy your sentry turret would attack, and which enemies minions would attack. So these changes will make them a lot more predictable to fight against, using your wave as cover by maybe standing farther behind them, that kind of thing. Just general MOBA wave management laning phase type strategies will be a lot better in this patch.
Yep. And I think we've got more on this on the next slide, going into a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
Not only because it wasn't only distance based aggro that changed. I mean, that was something that we'd been wanting to do in the game for a long time. Having Robert on the team has been incredibly helpful. It's just pushed things along just how we want them to. Um, and now you're gonna see minions hopefully actually giving you the Iker rewards properly. Previously it was kind of just like, hey, you probably killed that thing, here's some Iker. Now it's a little bit more fleshed out. So I think
Yeah. I'm laughing. Your description of the code was pretty accurate. So we're moving kind of away from last hitting, which is a little bit interesting for a MOBA. Last hitting is still technically what is happening, but there's a much greater tolerance for last hitting. Um,
mhm.
and we are going to eventually apply these changes to players as well. So we'll talk a little bit about what that means in a minute, though. So for minions, if you shoot a minion and that minion dies within 5 seconds, you will get the Iker reward as long as you were the last player to damage that minion. So if you shoot a minion and then that minion dies to a tower because you're defending your tower, you still get the Iker. They die to a minion in your wave, you still get the Iker. They die to a lightning strike, you still get the Iker. So, as long as another player doesn't do the last bit of damage, you will always get the Iker. And that's a lot more predictable. It's a little bit more forgiving for every type of player, new, veteran, whatever. Everyone's going to get more Iker. It's going to be easier to farm waves. As long as you're there damaging the minions, you're going to be getting the Iker.
It is, and we really found that in Revan, because it is a third person MOBA, third person shooter MOBA too, and you're dealing with I mean, the minions have like quite a bit of health, and you're dealing with like a gunshot. The projectile from that shot is dealing maybe like 85 damage, and it just felt very uh confusing when you could and could not kill a minion to get the Iker reward, and we just wanted to streamline that whole experience. Because we don't necessarily think that in Revan, what should separate players shouldn't be their ability to always snipe the minion. with the lowest health at the last second, their skill should be playing as a team and working together to control the map and create resource advantages. And this was just a way to really make that a whole lot easier. This should really help the Iker in the game too. The economy of the game is actually getting a pretty big buff in this patch effectively,
Yeah.
because players will be more easily able to collect money from waves. I mean, before it definitely felt really bad when you were fighting a minion and one of your minions, or like you mentioned earlier, a turret, shot it, and then you didn't get the Iker reward for it after having spent time like working towards that.
Right.
Um,
And I kind of called out earlier, these similar types of changes will be coming to player kills and player kill crediting as well. Um,
yeah, we are aware with the issues that are going on
yeah,
there,
yeah,
and we
it's
are going to
not
be fixing
live
those.
in this patch, unfortunately, but I do believe this patch includes a partial solution, which is that dying to a turret or to enemy minions or to a jungle minion camp or whatever will not reset your bounty from kill streaks.
Yep.
Previously, that was a bit cheesy. Kind of a troll thing would be like, oh, I'm about to die. I'll just go suicide to tower. And even though someone else shot me like 3 seconds ago, they're not going to get the bounty, and my bounty's going to get cleared. Wait, like you're just taking all these resources away
Right.
from the enemy team. So
And
that will no longer be possible starting in this patch. If you die, your bounty is either claimed or it sticks around until it is eventually claimed. It doesn't just get reset when you die to anything on the map.
yes. And on that, I want to be clear that that was never our intention for that system. That
Yeah,
was a byproduct of how we had built it. It was inherently exploitative. Um, no fault on any community members who are utilizing it
yeah,
because we put it in there.
yeah.
Our bad, and we are definitely going to be fixing that up.
Yeah, so the fix is in now to make sure that's no
Yep.
longer an exploit. And then the next phase will be adding a sort of 5 second tolerance similar to minions, where if a player dies and you were the last person to shoot at them or damage them with an ability within 5 seconds, you'll still get the kill credit. Similar to a lot of other MOBAs, if you auto attack an enemy and then that enemy is tower diving you and dies to the tower, you still get the kill credit. We want to have that same type of interaction in REVN.
Yep. All
All
right.
right.
And then I think the rest of the changes for this week are map changes. Um, so what we're looking at here is Angel Arena. For those of you who have been in the game playing it with us, you'll almost immediately notice some pretty big differences here. Uh, Previously, there were only two entrances into the Angel Arena if you were a grounded player. Yep, Silas is hovering over those right now. Um, and what we've done is kind of just taken out those sidewalls and added another two entrances to it, uh, and kind of with the intention of making this whole area that you're seeing with that kind of angel tiling flooring, that whole area is going to be becoming the arena. So we're kind of expanding his domain a little bit, and uh, really hoping that this will kind of make the angel fight a little bit more interesting. We're going to be closely monitoring this part of the map, especially in coming playtests, to see how this feels, how we're feeling about the walls that are still there, and all that. Yeah,
Yeah. I also would like to call out we have not changed the Angel's aggro or his AI
yeah,
behavior in this patch yet. Um, we are beginning the process of sort of completely updating all of his move sets, giving him new attacks, new AI, more complex behaviors. None of that is in this patch yet, so he's not going to really utilize this expanded arena
right.
until those new behaviors ship. But we're just opening things up now to start to see how players fight here for PvP or stealing the boss and that kind of thing. And then eventually you'll start to see the boss move around the greater arena. Like Alistair said, we're going to be keeping an eye on these walls that are still in the corners to see if they need to be modified or removed. So this may continue to evolve over the next few weeks.
absolutely no dates we can give you yet on any of that, but I can tell you that we do have intentions of both improving Angel and Hunter on the opposite side of the map. So you can expect to see changes coming to them sometime in the next future.
The next future. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. On the adjacent section of the map, we've got some more changes in the side lane that we affectionately refer to as the industrial lane or the pipe lane because it has all the pipes. Um,
Yep.
we are adding a lot of environment art in this patch. Ty's been working really hard on this, and you can check some of it
I,
out.
yep. I'm pretty stoked. Always happy to see Pipeline coming along. For a long time, Pipeline has been considered like one of our internally, at least, we've considered it to be one of our more boring lanes. So as we add more to it, I think that the fights there are going to get more exciting. We're going to be adding more cover, more areas for players to have more interesting interactions with each other.
Yeah. I mean, we say it's one of the more boring lanes, but I still have a lot of fun with like this
Oh,
ramp here.
especially, yeah, the ramps and the catwalk. The addition of the catwalk was a huge addition for the lane. It got a lot more fun
Yeah.
to fight in that lane when we did that. And overall, I'm really happy with how Pipeline is coming along from a balanced POV. Um, and I can't wait to see where Ty goes with this because he's just been awesome and yeah,
Yeah,
great work.
it's really starting to come together. I think we've got a few more changes coming. Some of these pylons here, these big like monolithic structures are getting some updates. And then there's a lot of like small detail, what we kind of refer to as greebling, is going to be added. Greebling's a weird art word. It's like any small like widget or doodad that you can like stick on top of something else to give it more like texture.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of greebling we're going to be doing in this lane. A lot of stuff we can like put on these walls and on the floor, which I'm really excited to see because it's going to be really cool. And yeah, it's more cover as well. Would be also nice to have in this lane. So nice to see this one coming together. I think once this is done, we're going to be really close to having the maps like final layout locked in. There's a couple of other areas that we're going to be adjusting some things over the next few months, but this is like the big section that needed a lot of work, and we're nearly done with it, which just feels really good as designers to see it coming to completion.
It does.
All right, I believe that wraps up everything we've got for this week's community stream. We have the patch coming out on Monday. It's probably going to be a late Monday patch, and then we'll have the playtest on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern and on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you're looking to join us for those, please hop in our Discord server. We've got the playtests in there. We've got a place for you to give us suggestions, bug reports, all that good stuff. And we look forward to seeing you there.
All right, thanks, guys.